Hello, everyone. My name is Valera, and I am an American. I want to tell you a story that still gives me goosebumps when I recall it. This is a story about my first driving experience and how I almost turned my dad's car into a heap of scrap metal. I was 16 then. All my friends were already showing off their driver's licenses while I was still dependent on my mom's rides or public transport. It wasn't cool, to say the least. So I decided the time had come. One sunny Saturday morning, I approached my dad and said, "Dad, teach me how to drive." He looked at me, then at his beloved red sedan, which he had just polished to a shine, and sighed. "All right, son," he said, "but be careful. This car is like a child to me." I nodded, promising myself to be the most careful driver in the world. We got into the car. Dad explained everything to me. The gas pedal, the brake, the clutch. It was a manual transmission. Can you imagine? The steering wheel, the mirrors. My head was spinning from all that information. We decided to start in an empty supermarket parking lot, which was absolutely deserted on a Saturday morning. I got behind the wheel, my hands trembling slightly. Dad was beside me, calm and collected. "Okay, Valera," he said, "start the engine, press the clutch, and slowly release it while gently pressing the gas." Sounds simple, right? In practice, it turned out to be a real hell. First attempt, I stalled. Second attempt, I stalled. Third, well, you get the picture. The car bucked like a wild horse, and I felt like a complete idiot. Dad patiently explained again and again. Finally, after an endless number of tries, I managed to move. It felt like winning the Olympics. I drove slowly around the parking lot, happy as a child. "Good job, Valera," Dad said. "Now, try to park between those two posts." He pointed to two solitary posts that looked the size of Mount Everest. "No problem, Dad," I proudly replied. I started turning the wheel, trying to squeeze in between them. But something went wrong. Maybe I pressed the gas too hard, or maybe I confused the pedals. The next second, the car lunged forward. "Valera, the brake!" Dad shouted. But it was too late. I saw us approaching the post and knew this was the end. There was a loud screech and the sound of breaking glass. The car hit the post, and I felt a strong jolt. Silence fell. We sat in the car, looking at the broken headlight and the crumpled fender. My dad sat next to me, his face pale. "Valera," he said in a quiet but menacing voice, "you just wrecked my car." I thought I was going to be killed. But surprisingly, Dad didn't yell. He just took a deep breath, got out of the car, and started inspecting the damage. I felt like the worst son in the world. We called a tow truck, and while we waited, Dad said, "Well, son, now you have a story for your grandkids. And remember, never confuse the pedals." The car, of course, was repaired. It cost Dad a fortune. But the funniest thing is, after that incident, when I finally got my license, I became a very careful driver. That incident was a real lesson for me. Sometimes I think about that day and laugh, though I wasn't laughing at all back then. This story has become a part of my life, and now, when someone asks me about my first driving experience, I always tell them about my dad's red sedan and the unfortunate post. And my dad? He still loves his car, but he always asks me to drive when we go somewhere together now. He must still be scared.